corners, or checking to make sure people aren't terrible before we work with them. Any PR, that kind of stuff, it all kind of touches upon community. And that's sort of the back end work that we do in terms of making sure that the voice and everything is in line with the company values and also sounds good. Because there's a lot of really, if a lot of community managers were not in the position that they are, every time something comes out about like maybe a game or another product, it will sound like sometimes the most corporate, boring thing in the world.
Right. I imagine that threading that line between being a corporate account versus being like, you know, oh, I'm like, you know, community, like it's got to be a very, very narrow thing to follow. Like,
yeah, definitely is. It definitely is. And it's also like, you know, gathering all the complaints and or good things or whatever from the community and translating that to the devs. Because when you have like, you know, a million people shouting different things at 4 different people, the message kind of gets garbled. So to go through a funnel, it's like perfect.
And they don't necessarily have the time to be scrolling through social media going, oh, okay, what do people think of our game? Oh, everyone is mad at us. Oh, no. Like, the loud voices are always so much louder than the positive voices, because if you're enjoying the thing, you just kind of go head down and then just enjoy it. So it like one thing I try to be aware of is like letting people who make the things I enjoy try to know that I'm enjoying it. You know, be that little extra like, hey, this is cool voice.
Do that.
Like on that sort of like topic, are there earlier you said you like can't like play any like multiplayer games or like engage with communities because you're like you go into like the community manager mode, like, oh, this should be done this way, blah blah blah. Are there, outside of like Kitfox or Innersloth game things you've worked on, are there any communities that you think do a good job of like fostering that kind of stuff?
There are. So I really admire the way Klei, who make Don't Starve, kind of interact with their community. I think it's lovely. I think they have really good values, and the way that they like treat the devs and also their like player base is fantastic. I'm trying to think. There's definitely others. I'm not super in the Rocket League community, but I have heard things about their moderation and like the like auto, like, you know how like you can have auto responses with Rocket League or something. Like apparently those are really good. I'm not actually in that community, so I actually don't know, but I've heard good things.
But I can also very much relate to what you're talking about, because we've talked about this for years on the podcast, because I am a professional software developer and I used to work on games, and it's really hard to turn off the analytical part of your brain when you're engaging with something that, you know, you've been on the back end of making something for years and years and years, and you've seen how the sausage is made. When you go to enjoy a game on your own time, it can be really tough to be like, oh, what are they doing for their tweening engine? Or, you know, stuff like that. Like it's so hard. Have there been any games recently that have transcended that barrier for you, where you're just like, I just love this. This is great.
Oh my goodness. Like just community or just like the game in general?
Just playing a game. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, this is wonderful.
Oh, I mean, everyone has already talked about this, but oh my gosh, Hades was so good. It was so good. I was like, it's
the original boyfriend dungeon.
It's just, they're so hot. They're so hot. I can't.
That's true.
Twitter got extremely thirsty over Hades for quite a while, and still.
It still is. I still see a ton of fan art, and it's amazing.
It's because Jesse is incredible at drawing extremely hot people in a way that's also like not objectifying them.
Yes.
And so, and like Pyre had a little bit of that, but I feel like Hades was the first time that she really like went there with that. And I think that's why it just like every character in that game is super hot.
They're super hot. And also like the voice for those characters, I was like, oh my goodness,
extremely good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's
no, totally fair. That was Gaming Fix's 2020 Game of the Year after our deliberations last year. So
Oh, there we go.
Last week.
Last year, last week.
It feels like last year. Sorry.
I mean, honestly, our podcast for that was like 6 hours, so it felt like a lot. But anyways, I love Hades too. So
That's great.
Oh, so good.
It's so good.
So Victoria, because we have you for a limited amount of time, I have another set of questions for you, and most of us are aware of it, but you are not. And this was to bring you in blind so you can enjoy it. And so I have 15 of these, and these are Canadian snacks. And we're going to do kind of a tier list, S tier, F tier, that kind of thing. Because for pretty much the entire time we've done this podcast, we've never had another Canadian on this show. We've had people from all over the world, but never another Canadian. So now we can finally, So Allison, you probably have experienced some of these, so feel free to chime in. Pat, I don't know. Maybe in Michigan, some of these shown up, and Andre.
I went to Windsor all the time too. So.
Oh, okay, then you're good. Okay. And Andre, I don't know.
Curling.
I have never had a Timbit.
That's sad. Okay.
All the Tim Hortons in Minnesota closed, and I was so sad.
Also, there's a ton of Tim's in Michigan, which is where I'm originally from. There's a ton of Tim's in Michigan, but they're very different from Tim's in Canada. American.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It's not as good. No,
it's not, and it's not the same thing. Like the menu's different, and the actual food is different, for sure.
You got a fake Timmy's. All right.
Okay, we ready? All right. Yeah. So we got 15 of these. The first one, ketchup chips.
Yes.
I put them at like a B tier.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm with you.
I guess I love them, but I get it.
It also depends on the brand, like Ruffles versus Lay's, or like the kettle chips.
Part of it also might be
Lay's is a classic.
Yeah, and part of it also might be a novelty thing because I, for whatever reason, just can never find them here. So when I spent I went on vacation and went to Montreal and stuff, and I was like, it was like, all the Canadian snacks, and I filled my backpack with them to like take back and everything. And then now I'm like, man, I could go for some ketchup chips. So it's just kind of it's not there. Yeah. So that might kind of raise it in my estimation a little bit.
That's fair.
Whereas you and I can just walk over to like a grocery store or like a corner store and just grab some.
Basically.
All right, next one. All dress chips.
Ooh, are they Ruffles? I don't actually like ruffled chips. I like my chips smooth.
Yeah, you're
so in that the texture would. I'd also put them on a B tier. I would not say no to them, and I do enjoy the flavor, but they're not my favorite.
You wouldn't buy them yourself.
S tier for me.
I like them. I would probably put them at an A, just because they can be really powerful.
That's why I like them though. It's like that they
got power flavor
so much.
Yeah, but and there's a certain brand which is only available in Canada that has the most powerful flavor, and that's our next one. What do you think of Crispers?
I have no idea what that is.
Only Canadian?
Yeah, it's only Canadian.
Yo.
I literally never heard of this.
A tier.
Yeah, so I love Crispers. I would say A tier as well.
Okay.
And
these look really good. America, what are we doing over
Isn't
here?
CRISPR like that DNA modification thing?
Yes.
What is
we just eat DNA as a snack.
Yep. And another favorite of mine, I'm gonna preface this by saying it's probably an A or S tier, is Cheesies.
Yeah, A tier. A tier. Yeah, good stuff.
Have y'all had Cheesies? Because they're kind of like they're like Cheetos.
Guess what? Is.
They're like Cheetos, but better, in my opinion.
Well, that's not possible. So
you got to try some Cheesies.
Try it.
Okay, well, wait. Are they like crunchy or are they like poop?
Oh yeah,
they're crunchy.
Crunchy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, these do look really good. So here's the thing.
Feasible.
All right, let's move away from carby snacks. Let's move into the chocolate realm. So we've got Smarties, which in the States, you also have Smarties, but those are not what we call Smarties. They're what we call Rockets. Yes. So we're talking about the chocolate candy covered Smarties.
Smarties are really good.
I like them. I'd say they're like, I think they're B tier. B plus tier.
Yeah, like the candy coating is kind of a bit much.
I like the candy. I like it all. I like it all.
Fair enough. Okay. Next one, which is a fan favorite from listeners of our podcast, and that is Coffee Crisp.
Yo, yeah, that's A tier.
I'd say A tier too. And just like anecdote, when I was telling my family like, oh, I'm gonna go on this trip to Canada and I'm excited. Everybody's like, oh, what are you gonna do? Except for my aunt, who was like, eat Coffee Crisp. Like she specifically, that was like the one thing that she told me to do in Canada. It was like, go get yourself to a store, get a Coffee Crisp because she loves it and you can't get it here.
Did you bring her some back?
I tried to, but I think a lot of it got melted and kind of gross, so
That's
I couldn't
tragic.
get it.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
What sort of niece are you? Didn't bring like a iced cooler? Like, come on.
Yeah, on the plane, it's like, excuse me, this is for Coffee Crisp. That's why I'm like bringing this. And they're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just for Coffee Crisp.
Another one I was surprised that was just Canadian only. Caramilk.
Really?
Yeah. Right?
Huh. I've eaten like only like during Halloween, I feel, when I was a kid. So I don't have strong associations with them. I don't think they're bad, but I guess they're like literally middle of the road C tier, like C plus tier. I'm just like, yeah, if it's in front of me and I'm really hungry or really want something sweet, sure.
All right. How about a Mars bar?
Oh, do I like those? Wait, are Mars bars not in America?
You can get Mars bars here.
So,
you can?
I think they're becoming a little bit more
different.
They're becoming a little bit more common,
Okay.
but for a long time they weren't as
All
much.
right. Yeah, when I lived in the States.
Ubiquitous as some like other candy bars, but like
Right.
you don't necessarily see them in the checkout line, but if you go to the bulk candy aisle, you can usually find a Mars
Interesting.
Okay. I think I'd also put these in like a C plus tier or something.
Yeah, I'd put it like
fine.
D tier for me. I don't really like them.
I just like food.
Yeah.
I'd eat anything. I'm like, I'd eat it.
Okay, apparently, this is totally off topic. There was a Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest variant Mars bar, and I need to know what that is.
What?
Because I'm on the
variant?
Wikipedia.
Don't they just put like the face like a Pirates of the Caribbean?
It's a real human finger.
The fact that it's listed as a separate like thing on this Wikipedia page is that I need to know what it is.
Yeah, well, let us know, please.
I will.
Next one, Arrow.
I like Arrow. I give it a B.
Yeah, they're good.
I
They're
actually know like what the bubbles, if the bubbles do anything, but that's good.
And they give it a little crisp. I don't know, like it's a little crunchy.
No, they're not
it's
crunchy because it's
melty.
really soft. It's really
Just
melty.
air bubbles.
Yeah, air
Oh.
bubbles.
Yeah.
Wonder Bar.
I don't think I've had a Wonder Bar.
I think that one's
So
an
it's a
S
question
tier.
mark.
It's an S tier for me.
Really?
It's pronounced
Yeah.
wunderbar.
There's only
Wunderbar.
there's only one problem with Wunderbar, and that's that it just kind of looks like poop. Not as in like it looks bad, as in it just looks like poop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I never gone. I should just buy one.
I'm Googling these as we go along, and Googling Wonder Bar just gives me a bunch of crowbars on Amazon.
You have to do Wonder Bar candy for sure.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was like looking through. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of crowbars in here.
Yeah, they're just we just eat crowbars here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
You're
with all the
best.
free healthcare, we don't know what else to do with ourselves. So just
Yeah.
eat
If
crowbars.
Half-Life took place in Canada, it would be a very different game.
Smacking each other with Wonder Bars. But all right, we're in the home stretch here. Crispy Crunch.
Ooh, I think I like those. I think they're a B. I
Yeah,
think.
they're good. They're good, but they
Yeah.
also kind of can destroy your teeth. Like as in like stuff just gets stuck to it. Like it's crazy.
It's like saying this like reminds me that like I haven't had like a chocolate bar in so long, like
Same.
an actual right. Like that's like when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, this is what I'm all about.
Butterfinger?
What?
It's
Crispy
just a
Crunch?
Butterfinger.
No,
Crispy Crunch.
it's way denser
Okay.
and
Crispy
way
Crunch.
harder. All right, this one is gonna.
Those are pretty dense. Those
Yeah.
Butterfingers.
But these are like way crazier. But all right, this one's. I'm sorry, American friends. This one's gonna make you unhappy. But Kinder Surprise,
Oh, S tier. S tier. You
Oh.
because those got banned in the States, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like
We could talk for a long time about
Yeah.
that.
All right, Harry's chocolate orange.
Oh, do they not have those? Those are real good.
Really?
Oranges. I don't know if we have Harry's chocolate orange, but chocolate oranges are definitely a thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can get a Terry's.
I think those show up. Yeah, I've definitely had that.
Okay,
I think
fair
they
enough.
show up mostly around like the holidays or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if you can get them year round here, but that is the preeminent, in my opinion, that is the preeminent brand of chocolate orange in the States as well.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
It's like a very much like, at least from my experience, like very much like, oh, you want something really nice for like a Christmas stocking or something.
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing it at like the checkout line at Fred Meyer.
Yes, and we had ads when I was a kid, like the ads of like people slamming them on stuff.
Yeah, and then it would open up. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know they showed up in the States. That's good to know. All right, last two. And this one's it's a bit more esoteric. President's Choice cookies.
Oh, yeah, S tier.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
S tier.
Do they change with every like regime?
We don't even have presidents, so
Yeah, we don't have monarch's
They
choice.
just ask the American president. And,
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
What kind of cookie do you like?
They're very good.
Yeah, they're so good. But the weird thing about them is, like, okay, if you get a fresh bag of them, they're really crispy. But if you just kind of let them get stale, like just leave it open, and they soften up, and they're even better.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
And, okay, last one, and it's very Canadian. Sorry, KD.
Do they not? They have KD. They don't have KD.
Not branded the same way.
Oh, not branded the same way. It's instant macaroni. Well,
It's Kraft. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have tons of Kraft in my
It's
But-
S
but-
tier, though.
cupboard right now.
But KD specifically is a Canadian one.
It's true. KD specifically, S tier. That was like, I don't know. That was like my one part of my college struggle food, and I have fond memories of it.
Same.
Like if you're in North America, like macaroni is just college struggle food.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
general.
Oh, absolutely.
I was gonna say that's my in my 30s struggle food.
There are certain points in my life where I'm like, okay, let's just get a bunch of Easy Mac and that's gonna be dinner, and it's like, it works.
I haven't had mac and cheese like since I moved to Japan because it's just like not a thing here. And
so
I'm
sad.
like, I just want like one box because like
It's okay. Everything in Japan is amazing.
I don't think I'll like it that much. Like because it's been so long, and also like I turned to like an Annie's mac and cheese kind of
Annie's
person.
is good. Yeah.
But so I was at Costco and they've got like the 24 pack of like
Oh my God.
Kraft mac and cheese. I'm like, I just want one box. Just one. I don't need the 24 pack because what if I hate it? I do not get it.
There's also
one thing
Oh, sorry. Please go for it.
No, I was gonna say one thing I do really miss about the States, or like going to the States for conventions and stuff, is to go to Trader Joe's, because Trader Joe's is so good. It's so good.
It is.
I want to go there.
I was going to give one more mac and cheese opinion that's very Canadian.
Oh.
I don't know if you know this one, Victoria. The President's Choice white cheddar mac and cheese.
Oh, that is really good.
That's like
President's
SSS.
Choice. I'm
That's
just
like
saying,
SSS tier. It's so good.
Yeah. What is with President's Choice? I don't understand.
So for the rest of you, President's Choice is like a no-name brand for a specific like chain of supermarkets.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, the No Name brand of some food, we have like a brand that's called No Name.
Yes,
It's also very good.
it is.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. Their marketing is great.
They have like full anime intros basically. That's their marketing.
What?
It's ridiculous. I'll try and find some videos and send it to you all later and maybe put in the show notes because they're crazy.
Well, thank you.
Do they get like J-Rock for the intro?
Yes,
or for
basically.
Okay, good.
Do they?
Okay.
I was thinking of like when they have like an ad, they literally just like print like this is an ad.
Oh, those ones. Yeah.
Those ones, like the super literal ones, I'm like, perfect. That's all I want.
That's so funny. Anyways,
We
sorry.
all
I
what
know
this is.
I know that we only have you for a few more minutes, Victoria, but
Yeah, no worries.
was there
Thank you
anything
for
else?
having me on.
No worries. Was
for
there
joining.
was there anything else that you just kind of wanted to talk about that you haven't had a chance to, or is really on your mind at this exact moment?
This exact moment.
Anything's on the table.
anything.
Oh gosh. I mean, I know that we had like previously talked about some things. Shout out, by the way, to QA for no reason. We love QA.
Yeah. Who knows why we're shouting them out, but QAs were great.
Shock. So no, and also thank you for having me on. I think like having podcasts with like very interesting discussions and also, cool group of friends is it's so nice. It's so nice. And I'm so glad like the gaming space is one that welcomes things like these, because I love like discussion and like being able to connect with people. So
as a community manager, you're doing the exact wrong thing and putting yourself forward. No one should know you're here. No one should know you exist.
You're right. Just don't credit me.
Yeah.
No.
Also, to say,
this entire episode is going to be censored. We're going to change your voice so you sound like this.
Yes. Please do.
Also, I have to say, if you're not following the Among Us Twitter account, follow it, because it is like extremely wholesome and good.
It's very good.
Oh, thank you.
Victoria, I think everyone loves the fact that you reply to so many people, especially like people who don't expect it, and it's just kind of like a pleasant surprise for them. I think that is extremely wonderful, and high five for that.
Thank you. It's actually okay. Super quick story time. Whatever. It's fine. It's like honestly,
hour and 20.
it's definitely based off an experience I had, and I didn't tell. They're my friends now, and I haven't told them this. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I should probably like say it to them to their face and not via podcast. But when I was younger, and I was on Kongregate a lot and playing a lot of Flash games.
Sure.
Juicy Beast, who made Burrito Bison and some other game.
Oh my god, you just opened a whole load of memories.
Oh,
the nostalgia, right? The nostalgia. Okay. Yes, you're welcome. Continue talking about this later on.
Yes,
please. But yeah, I played so many of their games, and then when at one point, like before I ever started in games, I had like tweeted at them being like, I love Burrito Bison, and attached a screenshot. It was like nothing special. And they didn't reply. They just liked the tweet. And for some reason, like I was overjoyed. I was like, they saw that I love Burrito Bison. It made me so happy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, like I still remember that feeling. Like it's somehow just a huge memory, because I was like, I want to be in games. I want to be able to do this. So with the Among Us account, I was like, I could do that now. I can be that person where it's like,
it's so sweet. Well, thank you for doing it. It is awesome.
Oh, thank you for noticing.
Yeah, and I know you got to get out of here, right? So
yes.
Thank you very much for joining us on this episode. And where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you want to find my personal Twitter account, I'm at the VTran, and you can also, of course, find me on Twitter as Among Us Game. And yeah, that's basically the main places you'll find me. I guess technically you can also find me Among Us on TikTok, and me on TikTok, but I don't post that much.
But you can't find them on Discord. Whoops.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Ooh. I don't know, start a Mastodon or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And hey, please feel free to come back anytime if you ever want.
Yes, I would legitimately love to be back on another time when I have more time and I'm not in the midst of trying to help the team do a new map for Among Us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Can you give us a scoop? When is it coming?
Andre.
It's coming in the future.
Oh, wow.
You heard it here first.
Exclusive.
In the future. Very exclusive.
This isn't like a Tenet situation. I haven't seen Tenet. I don't know if that joke works.
I don't know what that is in reference to.
The movie,
the guy, the
Nolan
movie. Yeah. Time is weird.
Yeah, it's lost on me.
Non-linear time. I don't know. You're not gonna like insert it like in like 2019
in the past.
And then
yes.
Like, oh, we've been playing it the whole time. Oh my god.
It's been there and you've never known.
Oh my god. Love it. All right. Yeah. Thank you again for having me. And thanks, hopefully I'll be on for another time.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
See you, Victoria.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was Victoria Tran. Thanks very much to her for joining us.
Absolutely.
Now back to a totally not normal episode where nobody played games, it seemed.
Not really.
Nope.
I mean,
Maybe Allison? I don't know.
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, I played like 10 minutes of Cyberpunk because I wanted to get some screenshots for review. And then I was like, wow, I can't even think about playing a game right now.
Yeah. So like after the podcast, like I played a little bit of video games, but then also, fun story, I started my new job this past week. So I've been very tired and falling asleep on my couch every night because I'm like,
is that what back on your bullshit means? Back on your employment bullshit?
I mean, sort of, but I don't want to say that like that because I actually like my current job.
I not like, oh, my job is shit. Just back on being employed.
No,
back on your living in a capitalist society bullshit.
Hey, no, I'm in a union now. So I'm in a union and I work for in the public sector. So, you know, less capitalist than I was before. So that's good. No, that's true. But I put on our in our doc that we use to just communicate with each other about the episode, I put Allison's back on her bullshit. And I don't know how long we need to talk about this because I am back playing 999 again.
Oh my God.
Is this because
of Jan Ochoa?
No.
I was
playing it. I was playing it. I started playing it earlier this week. Okay. So I was like playing it and I saw he tweeted about it and I was like, fuck yeah, Jan's gonna play it 999. But no, I was just thinking, I was like, what kind of a game do I really want to play that is just like, I really want to play it and I don't feel like pressured because of Game of the Year stuff. And then also just, you know, since I'm starting work, I want something that I know I really like. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, hey, I could play 999 again.
That's awesome.
I'm playing it right now.
Which platform are you playing it on?
I actually got it again for the PlayStation because it was on sale. So I got the No Nerd Games collection for PlayStation 4, but I'm playing
really
it on the PlayStation 5.
Utilizing the power of the PS5.
I legitimately thought, sorry, Andre, when I booted it up because I was like, this is me using my PlayStation 5 to the limit by playing a DS visual novel. but yeah, no, it's good. The only thing I'll say is last night, it was Friday night after a long week of working for the first time in months. I had a few drinks and it starts getting into the very like pseudoscientific nonsense in there, which I like. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm a little bit tipsy and you're expecting me to know about morphogenetic fields. Why is this happening to me?
Wow. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, that's a big part. And there's like a big part of the game where they just stop everything and they're like, hey, let's talk about this. Or, hey, let's talk about like people predicting the Titanic. And I'm like, what? I guess, okay. And I love it. But at the same time, it's like a little interesting when you're both tired and tipsy and you're sitting on your couch being like, what? I don't know what any of this means right now. And even if I wasn't tipsy, I wouldn't know what it means, to be perfectly honest.
And you've played the game before.
Yes, I have. I've played all of them. I love this game. It's just that they every so often go into like, hey, let's just go off on like pseudoscience for a while. And you're like, okay, but I kind of love it. So it's like honestly one of my favorite parts about it, but it's also like, ooh, this is a little tough for me to kind of comprehend right about now at this point. So, but yeah, I love 999. I know that Andre and I have very different opinions about the series, specifically the last game, Zero Time Dilemma. But I think that at the very least, you should play 999 and Virtue's Last Reward for sure.
Yeah.
So
those are classics.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard to say like everybody should play a game because I mean everybody's tastes are really different. But at the same time, I feel like the tone and the characters and just everything about 999 is just on point. and it is very fun.
Anime bullshit.
It is very anime bullshit, but at the same time, like I love it. It's like the exact kind of anime bullshit I love, where I love that kind of like, oh, all these characters are thrown together in this weird situation and they'll probably die, and they most likely do. It's very much anime bullshit, but in a very good way. But yeah, I started playing that and I was like, man, this is me back on my bullshit, huh?
It is, but it's good. It's like comfort food. It's something you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going for too, especially with like, I was talking to Alex about this a little bit before the podcast started. When you don't work for a while, you forget that you get really tired after work.
Yeah.
So I was like getting home and I'd be like, why am I so tired? And it's because I had to go out in the world and my job right now, I'm not working from home at all. I have to go out and, go to my office and take the bus and walk to the office from there and then learn a bunch of things and like be out in the world. So it's like, I when I got home, I was like, I just really want something that is like going to be cozy for me. And a game about murder is maybe a weird one for that, but where people are kidnapped and forced to play this game, but that's where I'm at right now. So
I was trying to remember what I was, because I had a question, then I lost it. It's back. What's up with? I know that guy, the creator's game came out on like Apple Arcade. The next one, like the collaboration with the Danganronpa developer, or like.
So the thing is that it came out on Apple Arcade, but it wasn't finished. It was like only part of the game. So I'm waiting to play it until it's like,
so it's still not complete. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It's basically like I don't know. I was playing it on Apple Arcade. I don't know if I think Apple Arcade is the best platform for that. At least maybe if you use a controller with it. But there were some like elements of like kind of basic platforming where I'm just like, I don't like playing this with.
Could it be like the Danganronpa 3 thing where it's like, oh, this is just not good, and then like later on you get like the ability to like make it easy.
Oh, maybe? I forgot about that.
Huh. Like you could beat it, but maybe you just need to like wait.
I don't know. Like, I think that it could be. I just really didn't play that much of it. It seemed like an interesting concept, kind of in the same. Like, if you hear the people behind Danganronpa and Zero Escape come together and make a game, it's exactly what you think that will be. But also I just was like, I saw that it wasn't the full version and I was like, don't have time for that. So
yeah, that's totally fair.
So I decided I was just gonna like wait until the full game. And I don't even know, is the full game gonna be on Apple Arcade? I don't know, but I know the full one's gonna be on Switch. So I'm like, I think that might be a better platform for it, especially with some of the like movement things that it wants you to do.
What's it called?
World's End Club.
Okay. Oh, World's End Club, right? Yeah. Sorry.
World's End is the Simon Pegg movie.
Yeah. It's what's that? The Cornetto trilogy?
Is it Blood and Ice Cream?
Yeah. That's the Edgar Wright trilogy and the World's End, which I had the most surreal experience with seeing in theaters because my friend and I saw it and we were laughing because it was so funny and nobody else in the theater was laughing. And I'm like, am I like, what is happening in here?
What if you had a Kotaro Uchikoshi game and it just starred Simon Pegg and Nick Frost?
Oh my God. Like, take the money out of my wallet now. I'm playing it. Yeah, but I think that it's really interesting too, because there's very much a mind game element of it from what I remember, like looking it up. Like everybody has tasks that they need to do before, I think, being killed basically, or like to get out of there. But then also
and then there's an imposter.
but also like they don't get their own tasks. They have other people's tasks, and there's like an element of like mind games with it. So it's I think has the potential to be really interesting. It's just I didn't want to play it to the end and then not have the end.
If you replaced all like the characters in Among Us with just anime avatars, you'd just make Danganronpa, but like
get Nausea, which is coming
playing
out.
it.
Yeah, you would get Nausea. That looks
Nausea, so which I am playing, which is I still sometimes I was sitting on my couch earlier and I was thinking, I'm just so happy that Nausea is coming out this year.
And every time someone says it, I think of Nausicaa, and I'm like, fuck, they should make a Nausicaa game.
Nausicaa's a good movie.
Only if they can get the English voice cast to do the dub.
Yeah, like Patrick Stewart and Shia LaBeouf. Uma Thurman, is she in that?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like a good voice cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like all those Studio Ghibli movies have like really good voice casts, except I really didn't like the Arrietty one. And my sibling and I, we had a very much we made fun of one of the voices where we'd be like Arrietty. So we kept saying that to each other. We'd be like Arrietty. But
all right. Well,
all right. Well, that's Allison's bullshit.
That is my bullshit. So,
Alex, what do you got here?
So, I've been struggling to talk about how to frame talking about what I want to talk about, because I didn't play any games this week because I just want to kind of reset, and I kind of got back into a hobby that I used to be interested in and like halfway pursued and then never really fully dedicated to. No, but similar to lockpicking, I'm hesitant to talk about it because it's not really legal, and it's not like super illegal, but it's like a little illegal. Like if you had a scale of legal and illegal and it was perfectly balanced, you'd be leaning slightly on the illegal side.
Are you exploring abandoned spaces?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
a real guess.
Yeah, no, I've been getting more into urban exploration because it's something I've loved doing for years. And yes, so I will give the preface of, if you are going to do it, be very careful. If you're doing it solo, it can be extremely dangerous for multiple reasons. Because if you're going into abandoned places where the floors could collapse or the roof could collapse and no one knows you're there, you could be in trouble. Also, yes, it is technically illegal. It is technically trespassing. But most of the time when it comes to the urban exploration community, I don't know how familiar y'all are with it, but urban exploration is very much about being respectful and like kind of going there to experience it for what it is, to take pictures, to kind of just be there for the moment. You're not taking anything with you. You're not moving anything around. You're not messing with anything. Vandalism is a huge no-no. Like, it's very much about the experience. So get all that preface stuff out of the way, because yes, dangerous, yes, illegal, but it is still a respectful thing. If you want
Alex,
to see,
I have to preface it.
Sorry,
Are
please.
Are you the person who stole Buzzy?
No.
Did you steal the boy?
I did not steal the boy, though. I actually, funny enough, I watched that video not like within the past week.
It's a good video. We're talking about Jenny Nicholson's video about the person who stole an animatronic from Disney.
From Walt Disney World. Yeah. But if you are looking to watch a channel about urban exploration, which is kind of encompassing everything I'm talking about, and if you do, you are going to go down a rabbit hole because their videos are fucking excellent. There's a channel called The Proper People, and 100,000% recommended. Their recording quality is top tier. It's like 4K 60 FPS through everything they do. The editing is amazing. They do it with nice music. They are not clickbaity. It's not like, oh, we found ghosts. No, it's not like that stuff. It's like they're very calm. They're very chill. They're very respectful. They're very like, they find this stuff and they're just like, whoa, that's fucking cool. And they know about it, like about its history, and they talk about it and stuff like that. Really awesome. But yeah, so I've been starting to get back into urban exploration. I have been to a couple of spots around where I live, which has been tougher because there's not a lot of abandoned buildings near where I live, because it's a pretty active development community. Like they're very rapidly tearing buildings down and building new ones. But where I grew up, and Pat, I imagine you can relate to this, is like when you're kind of in the prairies-y kind of area and like you get out of a city, even like 10 to 20 minutes out of a city, you start to see a lot of abandoned buildings on the side of the road, like churches or barns or whatever. And as a kid, yeah, like we would go into these churches all the time, like even almost as like a family activity. So yeah, I don't know. Have any of the rest of you ever experimented with like exploring abandoned places or urban exploration?
I think it's outside of the statute of limitations. I broke into a not abandoned dormitory once that was not currently occupied by anyone but security guards, and my friend and I didn't break in. We went through an open window.
Sure.
And then we evaded security like we were playing Metal Gear for an hour.
Oh, that's one of the scariest parts.
It was terrifying. I don't think we would have. This was long enough ago. We were like, I was 17 and my friend was like 21. I don't think we would have gotten in severe. He would have gotten in trouble.
It probably would have been like, come on.
For me, they would have been like,
go home.
We're going to call your mom. You're in trouble with her. I'm sure he would have gotten in trouble because he was doing it as an adult with a minor.
Like as a legal adult. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, that I've also been in Detroit. Detroit is like one of the most verdant urban exploration locales in the country, probably. And I've done plenty of exploring, like abandoned parking garages and there's some incredible photography you can find of like abandoned theaters and stuff like that are in the area that look like they're from like The Last of Us, basically, like that they look like a Last of Us level.
Oh, totally. Sure. It's really amazing when you get like, okay, another thing you have to be careful of, mold. So if you are ever going to do urban exploration, make sure you have either a simple face mask or if you want to go to crazy places, a respirator. Because mold is really crazy. And like if you were to go to like an abandoned factory where they're working with steel or anything like that, and the dust can be mixed with metal particles, breathing that is really bad for you. So you want to avoid that. So again, like you have to bear safety in mind with all of this. But yeah, you're right, Pat. Like amazing pictures have come out of especially just Michigan in general, but Detroit in particular, of abandoned theaters, abandoned steel mills, for obvious reasons, or like abandoned car making facility kind of stuff. Like it's abandoned hospitals, abandoned asylums, power plants, all of that kind of stuff that you can find.
And
is just
in
crazy.
Some cases, some of those spaces have actually been like reclaimed as like community, I don't want to say centers, but like community art projects and stuff, in the sense that like nobody ended up purchasing them, but because they are so in disrepair and condemned, it just becomes a like, you don't get in trouble for going there, and there's art projects there, and you can go and like park there, go in and look at the art and stuff. So it's not always like adventure exploring in the same way with some of those locations. Yeah.
Anyways, urban exploration, that's what I've been getting back into outside of games, because it's awesome. And I'm never going to talk about the locations I go because that would incriminate me.
I mean, it's also, especially like talking about these weird times that we're in, I'd imagine that it's like, I don't know, kind of nice to be able to get out places and wander around and see new things. And I know that I've definitely missed stuff like that just by virtue of not going anywhere now.
Yeah, no, it's great. And again, I would recommend not doing it solo if you can.
Yeah.
Slap a big old allegedly on the whole conversation.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more. That's also been one of the hard parts about finding spots, is the urban exploration community on forums, Reddit, stuff like that, are not willing to talk about these things in a public space, but you can via direct messages. Like people will be open to talking about it. So anyways,
to start out every message with, I'm not a cop.
Yeah. So anyways,
the cops could never say that, right? No, just kidding.
Sorry, Andre, I'm not a cop.
No, okay. Well, that erases like 3 years of mistrust that I've had. So finally, we can get to the real meat of these podcasts. How do y'all feel about cocaine?
I've never done. I can say, hand to God, never done cocaine.
Yeah, same.
Don't really plan on it.
That's exactly what a cop would say.
I think the only drugs I've done are all legal in the state that I currently live in.
Thin white line.
Jesus.
maybe fat white lines. I don't know. I don't know.
Fat
Drugs,
white rails.
Yeah, there we go. It's Tony Hawk on these rails.
We are not naming our podcast title that.
No, especially since we had so nice.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, Andre.
Like, what are we doing?
Oh, now we're talking about illegal stuff and doing fat rails. God.
Allegedly.
We do not promote drug use on this podcast.
We do, however, promote sick skateboard tricks on these fat rails.
Yes. Absolutely.
Pat, you say no games for now. Do you have anything you want to talk about that you've partaken in the last week or so?
I'll kind of let's just say Sam told me he was going to play something, and I was like,
oh no,
you're a dumbass, and roasted him for it. And I didn't actually know what that thing was, and then he and I have been privately chatting about this, and it sent me down a rabbit hole. And I have completed one game this week. I plan to come back and complete like 2 more games next week.
Pretty sure I know.
You can't say this.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Alex knows what it is.
We can't talk about it yet.
I will tell you, Allison. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Well, tune in next week.
Listeners, only I get to know this information.
This is a teaser. I'll tell you that in 6 years, one of these games will be 30 years old.
Yep.
They're very good, though. I'll say that. I'm having a blast.
How long did it take you to finish this one game?
About 6-7 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shorter
I have
one.
I have a chart on Twitter. If anyone wants to go, you can try to fill in the redacted blanks there.
Okay.
How are you playing the older ones?
There's a
allegedly
there is a I think it was like 2003 remake that is very similar. It's just updated art and music, and it's in.
Oh wait, do I know what you're talking about?
You might.
It's who could say. This is potentially my Kingdom Hearts for 2021.
Oh God! Here we go.
God.
Anyway,
this is a mistake.
Okay, I do know.
It's especially funny because Sam was like, "No, I'm going to play the new one, and if you like it, we can play it too." And I was like, "I'm playing the first one," and Sam was very upset.
Well, okay, but you do that though.
Yes, I do. I was like,
great,
Sam,
but you don't. But Sam should know this by now. That if you're like, if Pat's gonna get into a series, he's like, all right, I'm gonna do everything. It's like it's what you do. It's great.
And it's 8 games.
I mean, I talked about this on our the first podcast of this year where we kind of went through the release calendar, and Sam was like, I'm gonna play this game, and I'm like, but you got to play the other 8 first, and he's like, no, they're standalone. He
was adamant that they're standalone, and they're so fucking not. They are not standalone. The first 7 games in this series are direct content, like they all feed off of each other, and then 8 and the new one are a little more.
What could the new one be?
See, whereas I'd say like.
I mean, Alex said it.
Having getting more into the Atelier series, which I expect I'll be doing more of this year. That game definitely is not connected, but there are a lot of fan theories about how they're all connected. And now I'm like, great. Do I need to do this now?
I'll say, I mean, we're dancing around the name Ys. The Ys series is all, as far as I know, all of them, but maybe 8 and 9 are not, literally tell the story of one person's life.
Oh, okay.
So they are connected. Yes.
Not be connected?
Sam was like, they're like James Bond movie. And I was like, Sam, James Bond movies are connected. They're not connected in like, they are connected though. Like, the experience that he has over the course of his life are all play on each other and lead to the thematic significance of things later in the movies. Yeah, that's why it was a big deal when they went back to the beginning of James Bond's career.
It's like the Bourne Identity, that whole series.
Sure. Anyways,
but Ys is not the Bourne Identity though.
I won't go in depth on like the gameplay for them. I'm going to talk about that after I finish the second one. I'm about halfway through it now. But they're connected very similarly to something like the Yakuza series, where I'm sure that you could pick up Ys 9 and have a great time with it, just like you could pick up Yakuza 6 and have a great time with it. Sam's gonna hate me if he if he hears this, because he argued with me passionately that I'm wrong on this. But I think you could pick up Yakuza 6 and love it. You could probably pick up Ys 9 and love it. But I'm very glad that I went back to the beginning, because there's foundational lore and stuff. I mean, it's based on.
Does he not know you? Is the question.
It's based. Ys is I didn't know this actually. Ys is like the equivalent of like Atlantis in French folklore.
Oh,
which
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I
didn't know that either.
But yeah, that's kind of, so it's very much a sort of like fantasy stuff, but not. It's a little different than the typical JRPG, even though it kind of looks like it is.
Blue ladies, like in the Disney film Atlantis.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say
they don't call them blue. Yes,
they don't call them blue ladies.
They don't call them blue ladies. There's a similar concept for sure. The only other thing that I would say is I was under the impression, the reason that I dunked on this series is because I thought I was mixing it up with Etrian Odyssey in my head. Because
interesting.
Yeah, Odyssey is a good series. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So I will say Etrian Odyssey is clearly very well made. I watched a friend play about half of one Etrian Odyssey game, which was like, we sat for 3 days on a 3-day weekend. I just sat on his couch and played Game Boy Advance, and he played Etrian Odyssey, and I was like, this looks so boring to me. Not saying that they look bad, but to me, it looked very much not like something.
Also,
I want to play.
The music is extremely good. That's the other thing.
Anyway, that's part of why I roasted Sam when he talked about playing Ys.
Also, Persona Q is really good.
Sure.
Well, I really need to play Persona Q,
that.
but I need to actually play Persona 4.
But anyway, when I found out that Ys was actually like an action RPG franchise, I was much more.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Ys Origin, and I didn't really like it when I played it, but it's like it's a series that I'd like to get into.
I'm hoping to get through Origin by the next time we podcast, for sure.
Well, I've heard you say almost those exact words before with regards to Assassin's Creed.
What, with regards to like Odyssey?
Oh, I guess it was Odyssey. Allison was playing Origins, weren't you?
Yeah.
No, I didn't play Origins.
Who played Origins? I thought it was.
I played Origins also.
Okay, yeah.
I have pretty solid hour counts on how long these games are. The first few games in the series are between like 5 and 20 hours, and I've almost finished.
Yeah, they're not terribly.
They're not crazy
long.
Even Ys 8 is 50 hours long. It's not like a 200-hour JRPG, so I think it's doable for me to play through them in a reasonable amount of time, and they're really fun. The first two games have a different engine than the combat engine than Odyssey or than Origin, and the next like 4 games, and then the newer games have a different thing again. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of mechanically evolve as well.
Sure.
So yeah, I'll have more on the mechanics of those games and how they work next week.
Looking forward to it.
All right. I mean, I could subject you all to me reading like older manga, or because that's a lot of what I've been doing lately, is just like making full use of that $2 a month Shonen Jump subscription.
That is a good deal for
I get the entire back catalog of a lot of Shonen Jump
it's
stuff.
like absurdly good.
I also sorry.
No, you also what?
I also read, I think, around 50 comic books since we last podcasted, and 25 chapters of One Piece, and like a third of a Star Wars novel. So I've been reading a lot. I only started playing the Ys games in the last couple days.
Yeah, I need to get back to like my actual book. But I'm like halfway through Bleach, which is like 650 chapters or something. Like I'm like 300 something in, but because I watched the anime, but the anime ends way before the manga does. So I'm like, how does the manga actually end? And like it infamously gets kind of bad because the author was like, I don't want to like make a story like this. This is not how I want to produce like my stories, but because of how
talking
Shonen
about
Jump works,
burnout, wasn't that kind of like a thing for Tite Kubo, where it's like the life cycle of making like a weekly manga is like ridiculous.
Like he was in it for like the art, and like he really liked doing the art, but like having to like burn through it as he did, like a lot of the things started to like suffer, like backgrounds and stuff became like pretty sparse, and like the arcs, like the second arc is basically the same as the first like main arc. because it's like, oh, we have to go save our friend from this other, like, other dimension, and then they save the friend, and then their other friend gets kidnapped, and they have to go save that friend. But it's got cool fights, cool character designs. That's like the main thing. And I'm almost to like the like climax of the anime. So, and it doesn't have like the excessive filler that the anime has. So that's nice. Besides that, I'm caught up on One Piece. I read all of Kimetsu no Yaiba, which is like the hot shit lately. That's fine, I guess. I don't know. Like,
it is so big in Japan.
Cool. Yeah, it's insane.
It's now the second, like the movie, which is actually just like part of the story and not like where they do like a side anime thing. It's the second highest grossing animated film or second highest grossing film in Japan or something. Wow. And like they kept theaters open even though they shouldn't have because it was doing so well.
That's crazy.
It
has become the highest grossing film of all time in Japan.
Okay. Yeah.
Which like, come on.
My students, they're like, it's pretty violent for like a shonen anime or like shonen manga, shonen anime. There's a lot of like severing of limbs and people getting stabbed, broken fingers, things like that. Kind of gross. A lot of like weird, like, oh, this person's a spider, but et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, it's cool. My first graders should not be watching this anime, but they all love it. And they're always like, oh, you like Kimetsu no Yaiba? I'm like, I have never seen it. Now I've read it. And there was something else there. I forget. Oh yeah, no, I like to fuck with them by saying Shingeki no Yaiba or Kimetsu no Kyojin and just like mix up those two anime and manga.
Attack on Demon Hunter.
Yeah, and then one of them, I've had one student fall down in exasperation because he's like, "What are you saying?" Love to mess with my students, but yeah, that's all I've been up to lately. I'm gonna try and get a review for Cyberpunk up this weekend and Yakuza 7 up either this weekend or this week. Yeah, because I've got a day off right now, so I should focus on that stuff because I've got both those reviews basically finished, but need to tighten them up, get some screenshots. But yeah, that's all I'm up to. So we'll move on into news, but Pat, sounds like you got to get going.
Fortunately, yes. I promised myself for some scheduled gams with a big group in about an hour and a half, so I should probably
let me see them gams.
Myself. Yeah. Maybe I'll talk about that later too.
Oh yeah, I'm always down to talk about those gams.
Some steamed gams.
Oh. Speaking of steamed gams, everyone should plan on carving out a 45-minute chunk of time this coming Wednesday for the first episode of the relaunched, much like a comic book, relaunched Comic Books Fix. Woo! Where we talked about some WandaVision with one Chris Edgerton.
Oh, that show is really good. I just watched it today.
Sam and Chris Edgerton and I. And if you've watched it, you understand why I said speaking of steamed gams.
Oh God, yes.
Because the first episode of that show
is literally that.
Steamed hams for an episode.
It's so good.
It's true.
All right.
That is true.
So yeah, check that out. We'll have a feed up. You can you'll be able to find it if you follow the Twitter account. You
should have made the episode exactly 52 minutes long, so you could have called it the new 52.
Yeah. And we've also got an email set up, comics@fix.space, for any questions. Sam sent me a message approximately 14 minutes ago that said, I will happily throw down the gauntlet that I can find anyone the perfect comic for them if I know a few of their favorite pieces of media. So I would encourage listeners to ruin him.
That's comics@fix.space.
Anyway, Comic Fix is going to be great. Give it a listen. Coming soon.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Pat. And see you next time.
Yeah, I'll be back next week with plenty of yeast.
Oh boy.
And Hitman.
Oh,
and
fuck,
Hitman.
that's right, and Hitman.
Shit, yeah.
I'm pissed because apparently you have to buy DLC to get the Hitman 1 and 2 levels and Hitman 3 because it's on the Epic Store.
On Epic Store,
they're not transferring your purchase stuff. Yeah,
they've said I've read multiple.
No, I posted a thing in our chat last night that
that's a change. They said that.
Yeah. You have to buy an access pack.
So they said that you get. So they lied. Then that's bad. That's
they went back.
We'll talk about that later too.
You can do progression.
Yeah, they said that your purchase would transfer
that's coming later. The progression stuff's coming later.
The progression transfer's coming later?
That's my understanding.
I may play that game in 2022. I don't want to deal with this time. I mean,
if you play on PlayStation 5, then you don't have to worry about it at all. But
well, I don't when I play on PC, on Steam. I'm gonna wait for the Steam release if there's all this bullshit attached to the Epic one. We'll see.
Anyways,
bye everyone.
Bye.
Yes. Bye. All right. Well, it's time for the news.
Yeah.
We're ahead of schedule, so we can just everyone, if you talk at 50% speed, then we'll hit our quota for the week.
Yeah. Please no.
Oh God, Alex, want me to head out too?
It's you can Alex, you can just slow this down and post.
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely do that.
Yep. So the big news this week, we'll start right off with this. Sad for Pat, but because he's missing this first news story. Maybe we should have kept him on for just a little bit. Anyway, LucasArts is back after many people being laid off and the studio kind of disappearing outside of being a name. It's been rebranded to Lucasfilm Games.
Yeah.
And EA no longer has the exclusive Star Wars license. Starting in about 2023, they've announced the first game that will be following, or at least their first game that they have in production. I don't know. The first game that they're announcing that isn't EA made, which is Ubisoft making an open world Star Wars game.
So
Thoughts,
are you gonna have to climb a tower and
100%.
skin a tauntaun?
I'm honestly excited about that though. I think that I'm interested to see. Hot take, I like Star Wars, and so I'm excited to see where they end up going with it. And
sorry, it was being made by the studio What Made the Division, right?
Yeah, massive.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I mean, I never played the Division, but I'm I have zero interest in playing the Division, so we'll see. But
the best thing about the Division 1 and 2 was the environments. They do a really, really good job in making massive and awesome environments. So I think, yeah, I know, but I think that with the Star Wars license is pretty appealing.
Yeah, I a lot of their stuff has been Tom Clancy. Yeah, I think all their stuff mostly has been. They've got another thing called the Avatar Project. Oh, they're making the new Avatar game,
like a James Cameron Avatar.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about that one.
Movies. Yeah, no, it's on their website because I'm looking now. Yeah, so they worked on Far Cry 3, Just Dance.
Well, of course, they worked on Just
Creed, Ground Control.
Interesting.
That's a long time ago. World in Conflict.
I wonder what they did for Just Cause 3, because Just Cause 3 was maybe the best in that series.
No, not Just Cause 3.
Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
They did the weed field burning scene.
That's 4. Isn't it? Oh wait, no, that is 3.
No, that's 3.
No, that's 3. You're right.
It's got the Skrillex.
Yeah, it has the Skrillex dubstep.
I never played 4.
No, you're right.
Let's see. Massive Studio worked on everything related to multiplayer co-op and few cross-studio collaborative. There was multiplayer in Far Cry 3?
There was co-op, I think.
Okay. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, so they've made... a couple, a few different kinds. A lot of Clancy worked on Assassin's Creed Revelations. I don't know if they did the whole game, but
Clancy,
the Clans. I'm I don't know, I'll be interested when I see it.
Yeah, it's too much of an unknown right now. I think it's an interesting choice of studio to do it though.
Yeah, and and then Ubisoft, are they just going to plop Star Wars into their open world template?
I hope not.
Will it be a Jedi game? Will it be a What if they made Jedi?
What if they
Outcast?
made a Dark Forces? Yeah, like a Kyle Katarn game. But that was Activision, so yeah, whatever.
But but like that style of thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm more interested in what the other Lucas property that we have on the list here is.
Yeah, apparently Machine Games, maker of the modern Wolfenstein games, is making a Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, what's that going to be? 'Cause they've exclusively made first-person games, so it's if it continues that trend, it's not going to be like an Uncharted or a Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I don't know if you make an Indiana Jones game that is first person.
I don't know. I think you could.
You could. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying I don't think you would.
What if they make like an Indiana Jones like straight up old school adventure game?
Sure. Yeah. Like
Fate of Atlantis kind of stuff.
Like, they made that Lego Indiana Jones.
Or was it Fate of Atlantis? What was it? The Indiana Jones thing?
I don't know. I've never played an Indiana Jones game. Maybe like a demo for the Lego one.
Yes, it was. I just looked it up. Cool. Anyways.
I don't know.
Allison, would you play an Indiana Jones game in 2020? Well, probably 2022.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm really interested to see what they end up doing with it. So,
yeah, it'll be.
I mean, it's like I feel like Indiana Jones is one of those properties, right, where at its peak it's really great, at its lowest it's really bad, and so it's like it's hard. It's like I feel like I don't know how you make Indiana Jones in current era, but at the same time I'm interested to see what they try to do.
What was Indy like a property before the movies? Like was it like a comic or
there
like
were
a series of
books,
novels? I know there are books.
I think the books came after. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it started with Raiders, but
I think so too. I'm not positive, but I think so.
Yeah, it looks like it did start with the Raiders. But it's like it's one of those things where it like, it's specifically shaped after old serials, so it has that kind of older
it's got that lineage, but do you think they go with a Harrison Ford visage? Do they get the rights?
Can I get the rights? Because I don't know if like knowing Harrison Ford, will he be like, what the fuck are they asking me to do for this? So
I mean, they don't have to ask him to do anything. Like maybe they show his face, but like they use. But like,
would he say yes or no? I don't know.
Did they have Harrison Ford's likeness for like Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2?
Which is free on the Epic Game Store right now.
It is, and it's actually a pretty good game. Also, sorry, I'm going to take one step back to the Star Wars stuff. Watching the discourse around this, everyone was just like straight up just like, good, fuck those EA games, they're all shitty. But you know what, they weren't really that bad. Like Squadrons was good. Fallen Order is pretty good. Battlefront 2 was good except for the loot box thing. Like the game was good.
Now it's good apparently.
Yeah.
But I think it's just more, I mean, I think part of it is also so many people have that like fuck EA mentality, which like
totally.
Can't really blame people, but at the same time there's a fuck EA mentality and also just the fact that they've had the license for one of the most lucrative media properties in the world and they've only managed to put 4 games out for it, so it's like
very fair. But they canceled 1313, right? So
yes,
well that was because Disney did that. But
thanks, Mouse.
Yeah, it's
right. But I mean,
they did get Han Solo's likeness for Battlefront 2.
Okay, so there's precedent then.
So we'll see. It could probably happen. I mean, hey, it's like, hey, this will pay for something nice for you, and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, you don't have to be next to a CGI person dressed up like a dog.
It's like that's fine.
They should make a game about the X-Wing pilot horse.
What?
Yeah, there's a horse that pilots an X-Wing.
Oh, like make one about Jackson the Green Rabbit.
We always do this shit. Whatever they like, oh, they should make a Star Wars game, and we're just like, what's the dumbest Star Wars shit they could make? I'm sure I'm not even approaching the dumbest Star Wars shit because
there's a lot of really dumb shit in Star Wars, and that's why I like Star Wars, man.
And then there's like the Sith guy who's got the lightsabers that are like built into his suit, so his elbow has like lightsaber spikes and his knees have lightsaber spikes, and he's just got lightsabers coming off it. Like, you know, they're short, they're like 3 inches, but he's just got lightsabers everywhere.
Let's make a game where you play instead of as Luke Skywalker, you're playing as Luke Skywalker.
Oh right,
bigger Luke.
God, I forgot about that.
If they make a game where you play as Luke Skywalker, they should do like the Uncharted thing where they do like the different like skins. Like you can do like Fat Drake, and then you can just do bigger Luke, and he's just slightly bigger.
Just here's Luke Skywalker, and then oh my god, there's a lot of dumb stuff in Star Wars, and it's something I wish that more things would explore is just how dumb Star Wars can be. And I say this as somebody that loves Star Wars. Just there's so much dumb stuff in its back catalog.
Yeah.
Speaking of dumb stuff, I watched a lot of Awful Block this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I watched some of it. I need to watch more, but what Alex is referring to is AGDQ, which
awesome game.
2.75 million.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's really good. For the Prevent Cancer Foundation, it was fully virtual this year, and there's some really fun runs in there. I didn't watch a ton, but some of them were really good.
It was a really good year. They set so many world records.
Yeah, they just like you kept sending like, oh, this is a world record now, and it's like, what?
I mean, part of it is they're not in a like foreign place, they're on their regular setup, like familiar area, so I think it's like much easier to get like, you know, do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the pressure of like, you know, you're doing like a charity stream, you got to be talking, et cetera, but
yeah. And one of the like, they were all really good, but like the Flying Fox run of Sonic was amazing, where she was just fucking around the whole time. She was telling jokes, she was like making Tails do moonwalks and like stuff like that, and then at the end she found out she got like a world record and was like, what the fuck? like her mouth literally dropped and she's like, It was amazing. That's a really good video to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was really impressed with watching these is one of the things that I really love about the GDQ. Everything is just like the community aspect and the energy that you have and everything. But I feel like some of the runs really did a good job of replicating that feeling. Watching it, where they had some really fantastic commentary.
Oh, absolutely.
Things were just very, very entertaining and fun. I particularly liked the Zelda Wand of Gamelon run.
Oh my god, it was so good.
That was a very good run. It was all cutscene, so you get to see all of the beautiful cutscenes. And I think one of the commentators was just kind of like didn't know very much about it. Was very much like, what is happening right now?
Was that Kung Fu or something?
Yeah, Kung Fu Fruit Cup was just cracking up the entire time. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, and I also liked the I didn't watch the entirety of it, but the Pokemon Platinum run was really fun. Especially since there was a lot of DS menuing, like not just in the menu in Pokemon, but like adjusting the DS systems that I expected.
Yes.
Oh,
that was so funny.
They're always doing that in those runs. Like, I feel like every time I watch a Pokemon run, it's like, okay, restart.
Yeah. I mean, no, they're like messing with like the actual system settings. Like, not just restarting,
like the time, because that's where the seed like comes in, like that.
Yeah, but I think, but it was very fun, and I'm definitely planning on going back and watching some of the runs that I missed.
There's some bonkers ones.
I need to watch the PS1 Mummy game run for PS1 Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
And then there was a Time Splitters run where like 20 minutes into it, the runner had to like wait for like, you know, something to happen in the game.
Yes.
And, like for a few minutes. And so they're just like, and I'm going to like switch my stream cam to like
to a second screen.
Big, and then
it was so good.
Do a second screen. It's just to their camera. And then they pulled a screen like into view. And then they started like speed running a different game.
Yes, that's what it was. It was so funny.
Everyone's like, excuse me?
Yeah, that one was amazing.
So
another
like stuff like that, which isn't possible at regular GDQ.
Yeah.
Really
one of them
it feels super loose and kind of and fun like that. It's so fun.
One of the most amazing runs that I can think of was the blindfolded Super Mario 64 one, which was insane. Like he literally just played the entire game blindfolded, and he like was counting beats of music to know what the cycles were for enemies, and like that's when he has to move, and he has to move to these specific spots, and he was like doing really complicated stuff. It was amazing. There was also the Celeste Seasides with the dance pad was really crazy. Like
people are like upsettingly good at video games, aren't they?
Yeah. And Mr. Bones is also an awful block game that you should watch.
God, Mr. Bones.
It's really good.
I wanted to watch more of the awful block, but I fell asleep. But hey, I think every run is on their YouTube.
Yep.
If not everyone, at least the vast majority of their runs.
I think all of them are now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very, very fun. Watch.
I saw something real stupid on Twitter, which was that for Metal Gear Solid 4, they had to start with a save because they would get DMCA'd if they started from the beginning of the game.
Yep. Yep, that was accurate.
Industry this is. But anyway, next up on our list, Ask Iwata, a book of wisdom from the late Nintendo president Satoru Iwata, will be published in English. I guess. Has this been out in Japanese?
I think they're coming around the same time, from what I could see.
Okay. Yeah. So the Ask Iwata, didn't they do like a blog where they just like interview him occasionally or something?
They were videos.
Okay.
They also had a blog, but they were largely videos. It was a really great series, and I mean, I think pretty much anyone can recognize that Iwata was one of the greats of the industry, like by far. So I would be super interested in that book.
Coming out April 13th. It is sold out on Amazon.
Yeah.
So good luck getting your hands on that.
Yeah.
It'll be, I'm assuming it'll be scalped to high heaven.
God,
if it's already, if book pre-order is already sold out.
You're probably right. That sucks.
Speaking of Nintendo, Pokemon's new Pokemon Snap was given a date, which was announced last year, kind of randomly in a Pokemon Direct, and then they at 10 p.m. Japan time they sent out a Japanese focused tweet that was like, "Hey, here's a date," and like some more like actual footage of like the game and the Pokemon and stuff you can expect. And it's new. Some people thought like, oh, maybe it's just like a remaster kind of thing of the previous game, but no, this is like all new Pokemon, spanning all the generations.
It's in a new area or something, like a new region.
Yeah. I mean, it's got all the Pokemon from like the previous, like every generation. And that's coming out April 30th.
That's relatively soon.
Yeah. And then it'll be on sale till end of fiscal quarter, Q2 2020 or whatever. 2021. God, I'm still stuck in 2020.
Right.
I mean, mood.
It's not over, but
that's a very Pop A way of saying that. But yes.
Yeah. New Pokemon Snap coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it. And as many people of my age generation did, I played a ton of that when I was a kid. So I'm really excited to take more Pokemon pictures.
Go to Blockbuster and print them out. Go to the last Blockbuster in Oregon.
I don't think I ever did that, which I'm sad about, I guess, because I played a ton of that game.
Yeah. They should do a collab between new Pokemon Snap and Umurangi Generation.
They have like a Game Boy camera in Umurangi Generation.
They do, yeah. It's great.
That's great.
Hey, you got a few things here. We'll kind of wrap up. Ben Pack is out at Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb being the thing that brought us together as a podcast, being fans of that and Facebook group.
Yep. And I have played games with Ben many times. We still chat on Steam every now and again. And no, it's just not. It's just like something he didn't really talk about in private chats is the burnout factor, which we were talking about earlier. And but he pretty openly admitted it when he was citing his reasons for leaving the industry, like leaving not just Giant Bomb but the game industry.
We talked about that a little bit with Vicky earlier in the show, and
exactly. And
taking care of yourself is important.
It is.
Yeah, but he the video that made me go from being like casually interested in Giant Bomb to joining the Giant Bomb Facebook group and like, you know, getting into the community, which led to me meeting you guys, was the video of Ben and Abby at their first E3. So it's like I still like both of them are like kind of very special to my heart because of like them joining is a big part of what made me really get more into Giant Bomb. So I'm sad, but at the same time, I know he's going on to bigger, better things, and I can totally imagine how stressful being, you know, very prominent in that space would be. So if any of you are looking for recommendations, when him and Abby played the entirety of My Horse Prince, that is my favorite, maybe my favorite Giant Bomb series. And I might have to rewatch that tonight.
All right. Well, there's some other news stories in here.
Marked as, do we want to talk about these?
The CD Projekt Red stuff is just like
they keep fucking up.
So
this is just so dumb. So they put out a statement that was like, here's what happened from like the CEO or the director of the studio.
It came across like him trying to be like, okay, we hear what you're saying. We messed up. Here's how we're going to fix it. But then they basically threw their QA team under the bus.
Which sucked.
It was basically, I don't remember the exact quote. I don't have it in front of me. But it was something to the extent of like, oh, we just never found the issues with the old gen systems. Like our team just never found it. And, you know, like it's their fault basically. And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
QA under the bus. Like the QA like probably found every single issue.
Yes.
They just, you know.
Yeah.
And also like if you didn't find the issues, why didn't you send out any console keys to reviewers? Like, why did you have it be only PC?
Like to be blunt, he was lying. Like it was a lot of lying and it was a lot of bullshit and it was very stupid. And then there was more stuff like from the past 24 hours. I don't know if you saw Jason Schreier
published an article where he interviewed many people from the studio who worked on the game, and they kind of talked about their experiences, and there's a lot of like real shitty stuff in there. Like someone saying they weren't going to work overtime and their manager saying, okay, well, we're going to make someone else work overtime in your stead then, which is like, are you fucking kidding me? They've got like notoriously low wages for a lot of their developers and their like QA team, like
$700 a month or something like that.
Yeah, like making $700 US a month, working like full time, on like QA, and like maybe slightly more working as a developer, like maybe 900 or something for like a junior developer.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like real bad stuff in there. There was one thing what people seem to get hung up on, which was people getting in trouble for speaking Polish. And like they're a Polish studio, so
it's like what the fuck.
So something that Jason didn't like elaborate on which he later did for like Rami Ismail, who was talking about that, was like they're a Polish studio, of course they're speaking Polish. They was in meetings that integrate like people like Western, or not Western, Poland is generally Western. That's but East-West, that's weird. But
people whose primary language is English
is not Polish. Is they use English. Yeah. And but people would break out in those meetings, like, you know, and just start speaking Polish to other people in the meeting, and like basically exclude the English speakers, which is where that is what like the issue there was. Okay. It just wasn't communicated clearly. So it made people feel like are they talking about me? And why don't they want me to understand what they're talking about in this meeting?
Yeah. Right, and if they all speak English there, then it's like, and then they specifically move to speaking in Polish. Okay.
Yes, and like and people, I've seen people from like Ubisoft speak up and say like, oh yeah, no, we have like the same policy because we're working with people from all over the world, and so we just default to English. But French is also very prominent there. But
yeah. Did you see that there was a follow-up probably just a few hours ago from the studio head from CDPR talking about Jason Schreier stuff?
No,
I didn't see that.
I'm sure it's
choice. Great. Yeah, it's wonderful. No, like most of it is pretty. It was just sent as a statement essentially to Jason. It was not a conversation. And most of it.
Did Jason post this or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And one of the standout things was that he pointed out, oh, you only talked to 200. You only talked to about 20 members of our team, like of direct developers and ex-developers of the 500 we have. So that's not representative. Like basically, like very gaslighty, honestly, like very much like, yeah, no, what you're saying is invalid because you didn't talk to 100% of everybody. Like kind of that kind of stuff. It's just
and it's like he talked to a lot of people. It's like you don't have to talk to literally every single person.
Yeah, to get a flavor for what's going on there. Like it's CDPR is digging their grave real deep, honestly. Like just in terms of their reputation and just how public perception and stuff like that.
And like looking at this, the only thing that they really he really touches on is the speaking Polish and that situation. And he says our thing is speak English in meetings. He goes on to say that he doesn't touch on the stuff like forcing other people to work overtime.
Right.
Someone
he talked about very
overtime because you said we don't have to work overtime. So
it's very specific. It's very much just a statement sent out. There's no room for conversation. There's questionable stuff.
So around. The point he touches on with the 20 people is he's specifically addressing a claim that Jason made in his article. Most of the staff knew and openly said it wouldn't be ready for release in 2020, and that's where he's saying you only talk to 20 people. That's not representative of most of the staff. And I think if it's
like if you talk to 20 staff, they've talked to other people there. Like it's not like they're talking about just a vacuum. Like people talk at a studio or even at any workplace.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff in the statement in response where he's like, oh yeah, but most of these are anonymous employees. You won't even give them a name, and it's like, well, why do you think they're staying anonymous? Like it's all really messy.
Some being ex-employees, only one of whom is not anonymous. What current employee is going to be like, yes, I'm going to put my name on this because if they don't want to get fired,
and Jason did try to interview someone from officially reached out to CD Projekt Red and was like, hey, Badowski, Adam Badowski, the studio head, I'll interview you, and they declined or didn't respond. So it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to step back to the original issue, the QA thing, love QA teams, everybody. QA is
they do amazing work.
They know. I mean, maybe somehow you're getting a 1 in a million bug because there are things where it's you can't just magically recreate it or something happens, but
and AAA games for the most part, huge. They know. It's AAA games are huge. Stuff can get missed. That's normal, but it's
but
if it's shippable. If it's a large kind of systemic issue, they know.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not QA's job to fix the bugs. QA's job is to find them. It's management's job to allocate resources to fix them. And obviously, QA found those issues. Management did not allocate resources to fix them. So the people at fault are the ones in the video, not QA. And
it really comes across like EA did at that E3 after Battlefront 2 came out, where they were and here's the poor person from DICE who has to come out and apologize when it wasn't DICE's decision to make the loot boxes the way they were and stuff like that. It's
right.
Absolutely. So anyways, CDPR, they continue to be butt.
Yeah, it's like they keep making it worse somehow, and it's kind of incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our next news story. I have no idea what this is. Supergiant translation thing. What is this? I have zero context, zero idea.
So I haven't followed it super closely either. I don't know if you have, Allison, where essentially they were coming under fire because they had essentially hired like a fan to do the Spanish translation and or to kind of supplement an official translation and stuff like that. But the fan translation was really bad. And like they just never checked the quality of it. And they kind of came under fire for that because like they could have got a professional to do it, but instead they like, you know, they got a fan for cheaper or whatever. And like it just led to a lot of conversations around like localization and the validity of localization and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the TLDR on it. I haven't really followed up with what the response has been.
I'm looking into this right now, and it's like, it's hard to say because it's like, it looks like they did like pay everybody, but at the same time, like when they say community translators, it's like the way that it sounds doesn't sound like it's necessarily like a paid translation.
All according to Keikaku. Keikaku means plan.
It's planned. Yeah. Oh God. Like, thank you.
I have like weird nostalgia for
fan
like
subs?
some of those fan subs.
Same.
Because like as somebody that came into anime in the like mid 2000s, it's like I watched a lot of fan subs.
Yeah, I watched a lot of like Naruto and Bleach fan subs, and
rest in peace, horrible subs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah. So this Supergiant thing it's been messy to watch, but like it doesn't seem like any part of it was malicious. It's just kind of fans being a little bit miffed that the Spanish translation was so bad.
Yeah.
Right. And
the way they
I
approached
think you're definitely right to be like, you know, translations should be good. But at the same time, like it's kind of it's a complicated subject because also like translations in general, I know this has come up with like a lot of people who I follow on YouTube, where it's like because especially when like the fan translations or the fan captions we're leaving. And it's and like one of the YouTubers I follow, PhilosophyTube, he was very open, like, look, this video was translated into like, you know, a dozen languages. I could never afford to pay that many translators. Like that's just the reality of it. And it's like, it's not that he doesn't want to. And like, he's more than willing to pay for like some of the more popular languages that people watch it in. But it's like at a certain point, like good translation is really expensive, and it should be because it's a lot of work and it's like a very skilled work, but also it's like, you know, and then you get into the whole like looking at how Crunchyroll notably does not pay its translators very well. It's like,
but they're expected to do stuff in like a day.
It's like it's very messy. It's like a very difficult thing. Like there's a discussion about like there's a YouTube video that got pretty big where it's like it's impossible to live as a Crunchyroll translator because it is very specifically just which, you know, when it's the biggest anime thing, it's wild. But I don't know, it's a very messy issue.
Maybe with Sony buying them, like that can get some more money in there.
Crunchyroll. I was like, Supergiant. Oh wait, yeah.
No, Crunchyroll, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, to bring it back to the Supergiant thing, Greg and the studio in general, I think, came out and said, "Yeah, we paid everybody. We intend to fix it. Like, thank you for bringing it to our awareness. Basically, I think they handled it well. It's just the community kind of had." Like it was valid.
Localization is hard.
It didn't look like they got defensive. It was just like, "Hey, thank you for letting us know."
It was all very level-headed, as you would expect from that team. So. But it was a thing that happened.
Very
much.
God! Now I'm looking up the Know Your Meme page for just according to Keikaku.
All according to Keikaku.
I'm gonna eat a chip.
I'll take a chip and eat it.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh no! I've watched that clip so many times.
And next up on our story, a little bit sad news. Jonas Neubauer, 7-time Tetris world champion, I believe has passed away. What do we cause?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's super tragic because he was just one of the all-time greats in the Tetris community. Like
very, very young, like in his 30s, early 40s.
Oh,
How does?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like the 39, maybe. Yeah, very young.
Yeah, 1981, so 39. That's awful.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, but the Tetris community, like Morgan from over at Shacknews and stuff, has been talking a lot about this, Morgan Sawyer, and just how big of a influence he had on the community. And yeah, for a sudden passing like that, especially that young, it's just bleh. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it.
It's just tragic and horrible.
This is a weird update on this. So Shacknews, speaking of Shacknews, their headline says that Jonas was 38, and then they have an update saying the headline refers to Jonas as 38. However, he was 39. Why don't you just change it in the headline and then say like, hey, we made a mistake before? That's weird.
That is very weird.
Yeah, it's tragic. No one should go that young, and that's, even like in our current times, it's even more like, a lot of this stuff is preventable. We don't know exactly what the case with Jonas was, but still, it sucks. Next news story.
Last news story.
No, that was our last news story. We're not even talking about this. We're not.
Okay.
No.
We don't need to.
No.
Some games got delayed. That's it.
Yeah, and there many games will be delayed into next year and beyond.
It's
some Sony stuff
for reasons that I'm sure we all know.
Some Sony stuff from CES kind of maybe changed some release windows on some games, like Ratchet and Clank, and no longer is like, oh yeah, it's coming in launch window, which is what they said at the Game Awards. Or no, was it the Game Awards? It was, I don't know. No, it wasn't the Game Awards because I didn't watch those.
It was
their just straight up event. I don't remember what it was called.
Keighley was involved. It was,
he was
a Keighley
there,
stream.
I mean,
it was a Sony event.
I don't think it was a Sony event. It wasn't. It was a Keighley event.
Was it?
And
whatever.
It was, because Keighley was the one interviewing them, and then he was doing other stuff too.
Right.
I can't remember. And he was like, oh, when is it coming out? And they said launch window, but then this Sony CES type replacement thing was like in 2021, but it wasn't any more specific. And launch window is closing, depending on what you call launch window, but
it's pretty much nearing closing now. I would say.
I would say like March is like end of like the quarter would be like closed, in my opinion, but everyone's gonna have different opinions on that. I still can't buy one. If like they've started to, like that, I'm angry about it now for like different reasons, because before they were doing like online sales, and now there hasn't been like an online like release in like a few weeks, but they've been, since New Year's, they've been doing a ton of in-person like in-store sales. And a lot of them require like a credit card, so they're trying to limit who will come in. But there's like a state of emergency in like places like Osaka and Tokyo where a lot of these things are going on sale.
Yeah.
And why the fuck are you trying to get people to come into a store right now? Like, I know like you're like, and the companies that are doing it are some of the biggest in Japan, like, the biggest electronics retailer in Japan. So like, it's not like they need the extra. I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's dumb.
It's stupid. They should not be doing this. I'm mad about that more than I am about not being able to get a PS5 at this point. Like,
understandably.
Fuck off.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, God, things are worse here than they have been. Like, and they started a state of emergency in like a couple prefectures, like the main, like the biggest ones. But it's like no one's adhering to anything. There's no enforcement. It's garbage.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend, another friend from Japan.
Please don't go out to the bars. Please. And everyone's like, fuck off.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend from Japan, a separate friend from Japan, from Andre, who was talking about like like, yeah, people are still just, you can drive around and go on road trips and go places and do stuff. It's just basically the state of emergency means no foreigners. And like, that's people are just treating it that way. No,
because they just had this week reinstated no tourists. Yeah. So like, you know, there have been months where people from I think people from Brazil came and they brought a new strain with them.
Great. Cool.
Yeah. It's sick. Awesome. You know, I think the UK strain also made its way here.
Yeah. It has made landfall.
Yeah, so it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's pathetic.
Yep.
And, you know, this Japan is not as bad as like the US, for example, or many countries, but it is, you know, there's a complete lack of trying, and especially with the Olympics supposed to happen this year, like, it's irresponsible. Yeah. Anyway, that's your COVID-19 update from Japan. Thanks for joining me this week. That's going to do it for episode 155 of the Gaming Fix podcast on January 16th, 2021.
Yep.
The nightmare continues. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Fix Podcasts and on twitch.tv/gamingfix, and find us on Podchaser. Is that what the thing is?
That is the one.
And leave us a review. It helps us improve the podcast, become better, and all that good stuff. You can find me, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite breakfast food, which I think I've actually used as an AKA before.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Who can be sure?
I don't have a comprehensive list, but I'm sure I've done it sometime. It's low hanging fruit, but it's been a long time since I've done a morning cast. So
we need an ombudsman to check that out.
Yep. If you want to listen to the beginning of every podcast going back like a year and a half, whenever I started doing this, please let us know. Once I get a Wikipedia page, that'll be AKAs, be all there. Gamingfix.wiki.com. That'll be I'll have the longest page because it'd be all my AKAs. That's the dream. Allison, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at WRITERSERENYTY.
I've realized I forgot to say my handle, which is on Twitter at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W. Alex, where can people find you?
There's a new episode of Coding Fix up as of last week. It is all about the cloud.
The cloud.
And I think I'm going to make the next episode of Coding Fix all about QA. So people can understand what QA actually does.
Great. Thank you to Vicky Tran for joining us.
Thank you.
100%.
That was really fun.
You can find her again on Twitter at @VVTran for her personal account, or Among Us Game.
Which is I said.
What's Among Us? I don't know.
Like I said before, it is seriously like the most wholesome gaming Twitter ever.
Really
it's so good. It's so good. Somebody came out because she replied to them.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
It was the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was so sweet.
You know?
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, positive community.
And the parents were cool with it. That was great.
It was like so good.
That stuff's tricky because that person did it of their own free will. It's good that it had a nice ending.
Right. Well, her response was do whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is the perfect response. But
there was, it was, it's easy to see where stuff like that can get sticky. But
for sure.
Luckily, very good ending. And that's gonna do it for this episode. I thought there was something else, but I think that's it.
How about Pat? Where can people find Pat?
At PJC Plays on Twitter or wherever fine social media platforms allow you to have a handle.
Not on a very specific one that used to be hosted on AWS.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, thankfully.
I guess it's still I don't even know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I hope it doesn't. Anyways.
Like even outside of all that, like it is an irresponsible business that should not be. Like,
all right.
Okay, bye everybody.
Yeah, goodbye everybody.
Bye.